If you want to succeed in this new economy,
Okay.
data is the new currency that's going to allow you. Data is the new oil. The reason now you will win in this new economy is because of data. Welcome to the After Hours podcast with Andy Audate in the building. Super excited to have another After Hours podcast. At the end of work, I come here. So we end work at 5 p.m. At the end of work, I come here, answer Q&A, either question and answer or question and action. So you ask the questions, I give you the answer, or I give you the action steps on what to do, how to do it, and who you should do it with. Thank you for being on the show with me tonight. And tonight I have my special guest, my best friend, homie, the person I live with.
Now you're a homie.
Okay, not my homie, then my girlfriend. All right, my girlfriend Lori. Lori in the building. She's gonna be answering or asking certain questions. Okay.
Yes.
So tonight is a special night because I'm alive. I'm in the building, and I'm excited to give you some knowledge and drop some action. So let's go with question number one. What is question number one today?
Okay. If you could describe your day in an emoji, what emoji would it be?
If I could describe my day, and that's a good question. If I could describe my day in an emoji, the emoji that I would put would be the dollar sign with a sticking out face. You know the.
Oh yeah.
You know the dollar sign sticking out. Yeah, that one. That one.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, if you're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, in the comments, you can ask the question, and we're going to ask it here live. Okay? You could also email my company, support@andyaudate.com, support@andyaudate.com, and ask and put the subject line, question for After Hours podcast. Okay? So right here, ask the question, send it to support@andyaudate.com, and then the subject line is questions for After Hours podcast, and then I will answer your question on the next episode. All right, let's lock and load. What's the next question?
Okay.
What do we have?
It's a variety. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So people are gonna know when you were a kid, now, past, present, future. How old were you when you started your first business?
This morning. So
I'm guessing like you were 5.
Yeah, I mean you know the stories, but my first business started. I think my first like legal business, I mean, you know, entities and bank accounts and so on and so forth, was probably like 19 years old. But my first business that I was trying to hustle, that I can remember, was Andy's Kid Shop. And at Andy's Kid Shop, what I did was my mom had a uniform store. And at the uniform store, what they did was, my mom sold uniforms for like dentists and medical doctors. And then I saw kids coming into the store every single month, every single week, every single day. And I said, what are the kids buying? And my mom said, there's nothing for the kids. And then she gave me a novelty like notebook that had all the things for people to purchase. And I said, hey, I want ring pops, I want jump ropes, I want all these other like novelty stuff, and I'll sell it. So that was my first business. Still to this day, I have inventory, by the way. And that was in 5th grade. So that was 16, 17 years ago.
Okay.
So let's go with James, my main man. James, what's the first question from the social media, from Instagram or Facebook? If you want to ask a question, put your question in the comment, and I will answer your question live. If you are watching the replay, simply put your question in the comment or email my team, support@andyaudate.com, and put the subject line, question for After Hours podcast, and I will answer it. So question, James, what's the question from social media?
Okay, we have Miss Anna Cast. She asked, how did you get started?
How did I get started in what? Being
Life.
In birth? So how I got started was 9 months before my birthday.
No. Maybe it's like how you got business started. I don't know.
Okay. I mean it makes sense. You know, we're a business show here. As far as the business, man, look, I've always been a businessman. I'm talking about 10 years old. Yeah. I went out. My dad said, I went to my dad and I said, Dad, can you buy me the newest sneakers? Nike Air Force ones with the, ones with the straps, the mid tops. I was in 6th grade and I said, Dad, what I want is the Nike Air Force ones. Please get the Nike Air Force ones for me. He goes to New York because every time my dad goes to New York, what that meant was he's gonna go get some clothes. Okay,
Yeah.
so he goes to New York, go get some clothes, and then he comes back without the Nike Air Force Ones. I'm like, where's the Nike Air Force Ones? He couldn't afford them at the time, and that's what instilled in me like, hey, I need to go get finances. I need to go get money. I need to go get to be able to get what it is that I want and need. So I went out and I hustled 10 years old to go hustle, and I started shoveling snow, got $10 a door, and then I started raking leaves, got $10 a door, bumped it up to 15. And I kept on going from there. So I started off from shoveling, now, running multiple companies.
Okay.
Okay, let's go. What's next? What's
the worst advice that you've received?
The worst advice that I probably received was go to college.
Oh, what? I went to college.
No, that's good. It's
not fair.
It's not that it's bad. Like you talking about for me though, right?
For you. Yeah, I guess.
From me. And for me, structure from elsewhere is not like I'm not that great with structure from elsewhere. Okay,
right.
I defy authority, right? I fight with authority. Anyone who's authoritative over me, I fight. I argue, and so the college idea was not for me.
Okay.
And I could not pass math to save my life. I'm talking about when I went into college, they gave me the what's before. So you went to college, you understand that, right? What's before the college numbers? Like what's
prereqs?
No. Like college 0600. That's what it was, like math 0600.
Yeah, I mean sometimes you take those in the summer before you start the semester, depending on like which high school.
Take that.
Yeah, which high school you went to, you may need to take classes in the summer.
So
before your first year.
So for me, what happened was I didn't. They gave me a test to see where I'm at, and what ended up happening is that when I took that test, they were like, "Oh yeah, you can't jump into the college math. So before you start that, you need to do math 0500." Okay,
right.
I cheated.
That's not good.
All right, I cheated. I could not pass. I literally could not pass. I'm telling you, like the cognitive thinking that it took for the math, but writing to write essays and stuff, I was perfect.
Okay.
I write books.
Yeah,
I was perfect. But I couldn't. So 0500. So I went into 0600 recognizing. So they gave me 0500.
Right.
I cheated. Now to go into 0600, I was like, hey, I want to do this the right way.
Okay.
I want to go in with a clear conscience. I want to do this the right way. I tried as much as I can. I came back. I got extra help. I got the tutoring. I did the whole 9 yards, and I could not pass the 0600. And I just dropped. I just dropped out.
Okay, but that's the thing about college, though. They make you take so many subjects, whether you like it or not.
Right.
Like me, I did not like history at all, but I still had to survive it like so many times just to get through business. Eventually, I got to business. Yeah. So
I don't even make sense for like why. I don't even make sense like why would you need history for business?
I don't know. They call it like general education. I think it's that you want to be like well-rounded aware, but I really did not like so many classes. Until I got to my business classes, then I was thriving. But it took 3 years to get there, you know?
Like Henry Ford in the book, in the book Think and Grow Rich, one of the things that Henry Ford shared of how he built his empire.
Right.
Henry Ford, the person who created Ford Motor Company. He said that why would I clutter my mind or my brain with useless information that's not going to help me with what I want? And I just think it's a disservice from the college education. If you went to college, I'm cool with that. I think college is a good thing, but the fact that they they force you like you're like, hey, I want business management skill. Just give me that class, and then they're like, well, no, you got to take history.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
Why is that a necessity, or can you just skip it?
Yeah, no, you can't.
You can't skip it.
No, I had to go through like astronomy, history, government, everything, pretty much like so many levels until you get to the core. You know, but I like we've discussed, college and real life examples or experiences are important. So follow-up question that you could ask or I could ask would be, what's more important when people are building a business, having college educated team or someone that has been an entrepreneur since like 10 and that has a real world experience, you know?
Yeah, that's why I think it's honestly a good match. Like, I'm not knocking college.
Right.
Although I'm a leader, and sometimes when people hear me speak about how I feel about Andy, they take it as if I'm telling that's for everyone.
Like, don't do that.
Don't go to college. There was a time where my world was so small that I said, everyone don't do this.
Oh, right.
But once my world got bigger and I started learning about other personality types, go to college. College is a good thing.
Right.
I want to go back to college. I think I told you that. I want to go back to college. But not
you
to
want
get
to skip to business.
Yeah, I don't want to get a degree.
Yeah.
It's not that I care for a degree, but certain data that they may have, I may derive it similar to that I would take away from a course.
Right.
Online course. So I would go in for what they know about digital marketing. Print marketing.
Right.
And learn the psychology that they've studied for 150 years.
Right.
And I'll replace that in the digital aspect. But it's not about getting a degree. James, what's the next question on social media?
Okay, we have Mexican Supply. What's your most important key performance indicator for you, and how did you decide on it?
My most important KPI is my net profit. That's a no-brainer.
Net profit.
NP, the net profit. Because money is the report card. You know, there's so many KPIs. There's so many key performance indicators that allows you to see how. Like we have a sheet. So you know, June is working on a sheet.
Yeah, we love spreadsheets.
We
say, numbers talk.
Numbers talk.
Yeah.
So we have a data board that I can see on my phone of my entire company. So if I go to my Instagram, and we use a software called DataBox.
Okay.
And if I go to my Instagram, I can see. I'll show you, then I'll show the cameras. But I can see how many sales came in Shopify, how many the company overview in Asana, my Instagram business, my reach in the last 30 days, my impressions. We hit over 60,000 people in the last 30 days. New posts. We're doing more than we're up 138% on new posts. Our like count. So I'm looking at all this data every single day, my QuickBooks, my Stripe, and I'm looking at it on my phone. How many phone calls were made today from my appointment setters?
Right.
And I can see all of that from my phone. I have a bunch of KPIs that I'm looking at on a daily basis. However, the biggest factor is going to be the net profit. All right.
This is a follow-up question from Mexican Supply. What's a growing business opportunity for someone that would like to start consulting small businesses? As in, what sectors do you see demand from small business owners?
That's a good one.
That's a good question. And right now, let's give them a round of applause. So, as far as in this day and age right now with marketing, what someone told me was marketing or to be an expert in something just means you're one chapter away. You're one chapter ahead of someone else. And you know just a little bit more.
Right.
And that gives you a sense of expertise over that individual. Right now, there's a bunch of small businesses throughout America that are suffering, that they're looking at what's in front of them, which is their core business on the technical aspect. So what I mean by that, like the person who's a baker, they're focusing on the dough and the bread, and that's where the energy's at. But their energy is not on attracting new customers right now.
Right.
So you may have a small amount of new knowledge that can support them to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 new customers through their door. You can support them to drive the new customers, and they're willing to pay you. And right now, with what's going on with COVID and the pandemic, this is the prime opportunity to do so and to run a social media marketing agency.
Can I also add to that?
Yeah.
I think that millennials, or actually anybody that grew up with technology, can show the other businesses that don't have that forte how to get simple adjustments, like on a Facebook page. So if you're kind of like in that situation where you want to change careers or you're starting a small business can include anything like, hey, I'm going to do social media management and I'm going to take some good pictures, because we've seen some pages, right, that have like really bad pictures.
Right.
So if you have any type of technical ability, what you think is common knowledge may not be common knowledge to someone else that is not used to social media, even like like you said, marketing of a business page.
Right.
People don't grow up with that in some scenarios.
No, that's 100% right. You know, what I just thought about, so some of the places you and I shop, they use a software called Square.
Right.
And what ends up happening is that when you put my phone number or your phone number in, what ends up happening is that they send me like reward points. And Square does that automatically.
Okay.
You can actually sign up with the merchant processor. And if you walk into a business and you see a business using like a cash register and they're just manually typing numbers in, but they don't have that software for rewards and loyalty, you can sign up with the merchant processor, sign that company up and give them the software, and you
cool.
can make residual income every single month on the transactions that they make. So, and you can make a small percentage.
Because you basically help them get information on the customers.
Yep.
And it's like a system upgrade for them.
It's a system upgrade.
Cool.
And then that company, Square or whoever, the merchant processor, they'll pay you a small fee on the money that they're getting, because whenever you sign a credit card,
right?
whenever you sign up for a credit card, what ends up happening is that the company, the merchant, the company who's swiping the credit card has to pay a fee.
Okay.
So you can pay between 2 to 3 to maybe 4% on the revenue. So for every $10, you're paying 40 cents.
Okay. That's a good idea, actually. I didn't even know that.
Yep.
Okay. From Cheryl Empowers, what you think is common knowledge may not be to someone else.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's a good one. No, that's really good. What you think about that, James? What do you think about that?
For example, right? What you and James think is common, which is doing a podcast and the video, over my head.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do that. But you guys you thrive in it, you know?
Yeah.
I would have to hire someone to even do anything online, actually. I was just asking James, like, do you know WordPress? Because I need help, you know? So I only know business operations. This is different.
Yeah, I mean, recognizing that that's a great point. That what you think is common knowledge,
right,
to someone else is going to be like, oh man, what is that?
Yeah,
what is that? And I have a friend who does real estate. He's actually a client more so, and this guy makes $4 million a year flipping homes.
Nice.
But he makes $40 million a year teaching people how to flip homes.
Yeah.
So he's teaching what he knows, and he
Yeah.
makes 10 times the income. He makes 10 times the income teaching it versus him actually doing it. But he's giving also people freedom, so he thrives in it because people are getting freedom from that.
So how much, let's break it down percentage. How much time of a business should be spent on research and development? Where you're like, I'm going to launch a new product, new service. Let me go research.
That's a great. I think it's a skill set, and I think it's truly a skill set on doing research and development in the first place.
Right.
If you're in a place where you're starting a business, you're growing a business, you want to scale your business, but more so starting a business, you want to become somewhat acquainted with that area. I'm reading a book right now called Hustle Harder, Hustle Smarter. And one of the things that we talk about that I learned in the book is how some millionaires invest their money. And they want to be so sure, and they want to understand completely what they're investing in. And so many times you see people that invest money into Bitcoin or things that they don't even understand, and they're just hoping, praying for a return, and they never get it, because you want to know what it is that you're doing. So for research and development, if you're starting a business, find a need. Rather than researching it, I suggest you find a need that you're familiar with,
right,
and that you know how to fulfill that need. So that means that if you're working at a hair salon and you see for some reason people with ethnic hair constantly have ashy hair, that happens with people who have ethnic hair, that your hair in your scalp is a little bit drier because the products that are on the shelves at the CVS, the Walgreens, are not for your hair type. Now that is a clue where you can say, hey, you know what? I'm going to develop a product specifically for this group, and that's what I found. And I found the product that has avocado in it.
Right.
That has avocado. So what was normal at CVS or at the Walgreens or at Walmart that is on the shelves wasn't for my hair type. So if you find a need wherever you're working at, whatever you're doing, find a need and figure out how to fulfill it, and now you can turn that into a business. That's the best research and development. But if you're talking about like, hey, let me just Google and try to find out what people need and try to fill it, you don't even know it. You don't know
like
the data.
Theory.
Yeah, it's theory.
Right.
One of my mentors called the pink elephant. He said it's like a pink. I want you to think about a pink elephant.
Like it hasn't even existed.
Yeah, but you can imagine a pink elephant.
Create it. Yeah.
You can create it, and you can say, oh I see a pink elephant. But in reality, have you ever seen a pink elephant?
No.
Of course not. Let's go to social media. What do we got?
Okay, from Cheryl Empowers again. What are your thoughts about how to leverage the new Clubhouse app?
Ooh.
That's a good one. Actually, today I did a podcast on someone who's really popping in that app, the Clubhouse app. Now, for those of you who don't,
I didn't even knew it existed though.
you didn't. It's like an underground application right now.
Yeah,
And
for
but
VIP.
but I mean, the marketing strategy was pretty cool.
Okay.
They found a need and they recognized a couple things.
Okay.
People are like we're on a podcast right now, but we're also doing this aesthetically, which is like the video cameras. We got like so many cameras on us right now.
Okay.
But people would rather listen. How many times, like for example, you go log on to YouTube and you don't watch the video, but you listen to it?
All the time. I don't even know what's on it. It's just audio.
Just audio.
Right.
So they found they found that people are wanting to consume content through just audio.
Okay.
And people are so scared to get on camera, but people are willing to speak.
Right.
So essentially, the same way you would do a Facebook Live, you would do a Facebook or Instagram Live, you can go on an app and enter a chat room and talk live to a group of people, not just one. And it's not just you talking to a group of people.
Okay.
You can talk with a group of people on an app, and it's just audio.
Okay.
There's no images. There's no images. So that's what the Clubhouse app is.
And how can you leverage it?
That's a great question. Now, I'm not 100% into the app right now.
Okay.
That's the first thing I want to share with you. But I want you to understand the understanding of marketing and what the objective is.
Right.
It doesn't matter about the platform. If
Right.
Instagram went down today and there's no more Instagram, I'm okay with that.
Right.
That's the thing I want everyone to understand. I will look at you, Lori, and I would say, hey, Instagram went down. That's crazy, huh?
Yeah, we move on.
And we move on. There'll be another platform. But what's done on every single platform is one thing only. You want to get data.
Right.
That's what's going to allow you to grow your business. So you want to get name, phone number, email address so you can stay in contact. I don't care about a specific app. I want all the apps.
Get on all of them.
All of them.
Yeah.
All right, that's number one. So number two, now that I'm on the platform, the objective would be to get people off of the platform. If I don't own Clubhouse, I don't want you on Clubhouse. Okay? I don't want you on my Instagram.
It can meet you there, but you're going to take them to your YouTube or other stuff.
Exactly. So you can meet me there. Then I'm going to take you to other areas.
Your website.
And I'm going to lead you to a place that will allow you to give me your first name, phone number, and email address.
Right.
That will then allow you for us to build a true, genuine relationship. My friends, I have their phone number. Would you agree?
Yes.
I have your phone number.
Yes.
I've had your phone number for a while now.
Right.
A long time.
Yes. But
Yeah.
it did start on Instagram though.
It did. But what did I tell you?
But you said, text me or something.
Even-
He was
even-
super slick about it too.
even her in our relationship, I said, I don't want you on, let's start the relationship on Instagram. But what's your number?
Yeah.
I got your name. What's your number?
Real quick.
So I'm going to take you off of that platform, put you onto a platform that I own.
Right.
Right. So at that moment, even to date her, I took her off of that platform that I didn't own, and I put her onto a platform which is my inbox on my phone.
Yeah.
Okay. And that I own, that I can contact her whenever. And that's how you started. So Clubhouse, I will do the same thing. Get you out. Hey, I'm going to get you to a landing page. I'm going to get you to a website. I'm going to get you to a video and put you down to, send you into a funnel that's, of course, going to give you value that you're going to love. I'm going to give you specific knowledge that's going to support you.
Okay.
It's not that I'm doing it in a selfish way. I want to support you.
Yeah. At the end of the day, you can get your message out there and get other people aware of you, but it's not to be there forever, you know?
Exactly.
You want to do it with an intention to educate, things like that.
There are people who literally had millions of followers on MySpace.com. MySpace goes down, goes to Facebook, and they start off with zero, and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm starting my business all over again.
Yeah.
Think about that. You got 1 million followers on MySpace, then you go down to zero, then MySpace essentially starts trickling out. You send traffic to your Facebook, but now out of the 1 million, maybe 2,000 people go to your Facebook. Now you're starting all over fresh.
Right.
Because you didn't have data. If you want to succeed in this new economy,
Okay.
data is the new currency that's going to allow you. Data is the new oil. It's not about oil anymore. We have electric cars. You know, you saw the richest people get paid because of oil. The reason now you will win in this new economy is because of data.
Since you mentioned MySpace, do you still use it?
MySpace?
Like, I can't get back in mine. It's
Yeah,
an
yeah,
email that doesn't exist. You know, it got lost.
So
So now I'm actually upset. Like, all my friends are not in my other stuff, you know?
man, they're not really that friends
Yeah, I mean,
anymore, are
Some
they?
of them moved on. But yeah,
Some of them?
MySpace is
Let me ask you a question.
in the abyss.
If you logged into MySpace right now,
who are my top 5.
no, if you logged into MySpace right now,
Oh my gosh.
would you rekindle any of those relationships?
Nope. I don't even talk to anyone on my top 5s.
Anyone on your top 5?
No.
Are they in your life?
Nope.
So they never should have been in the
Yeah,
top 5
because
in
you're
the first
talking
place.
early 2000s, you know?
They never
Are your friends
We'll reset it.
Are your friends from MySpace?
Huh?
Are your friends for your top 5 still your friends?
Still my friends? Nope.
Yeah. What?
Nope.
Who
I live a
thought?
brand new life. Who would have thunk?
It's like, what happened to Tom?
Tom?
Yeah.
Oh, Tom's like a traveling, like,
Really?
he made so much money. He just travels now.
That's all he did, MySpace, and he retired?
I mean that's technically what you're supposed to do.
That's kind of cool.
He banked a bunch of money and he's like, hey man, I think he got a wife or a girlfriend, and then they just started traveling. You just see a bunch of photos. If you follow you follow him on Facebook.
He has a Facebook?
He has a Facebook. If you follow him on Facebook, it's just a bunch of stuff of him traveling.
How many people follow Tom on Facebook from MySpace?
A lot of people are saying, like, if Tom, I just saw a post recently that it was like talking about if we were still on Facebook, or it was like a photo of Tom saying,
yeah, the fact one where he's sitting.
Yeah, the one you're sitting where he's like, man, you see now all this stuff about politics on your Facebook and so on and so forth, that wouldn't happen on MySpace. Stuff like that.
Yeah, he would have cleaned it up.
All right. Last couple of questions for the night before we head home, because this is the After Hours podcast with Andy Audate, where I answer questions, or I give you answers, or I give you action steps, okay?
Okay.
After Hours podcast. After we finish work, I come on here and I answer specific questions about life, finance, and business to obviously progress daily. Let's go with the next question. Lolo in the building. We got Lolo.
Okay.
Talk to me, Lolo.
What's the hardest decision you've had to make? That sounds more intense than it needed to be.
The hardest decision that I've had to make, that I think in the last 5 years, was probably move to LA. Last
Really?
5-6 years, yeah.
But you wanted to move. Like, why was it
I
hard?
was scared. I was nervous. Now that I see like the life that I live, meeting you, being in a relationship with you, living the life that I live now, I mean, I can see why fear, was creeping inside of me. Like, fear is a direction. Fear is, if you are scared, that's the direction to go in. Like, if I could ask God and say, God, tell me what you want me to do, I think fear, that butterfly in your stomach, is the direction to go into. Like, if you're saying, oh, stay in your environment that you're comfortable with, stay in the known, what you know already, and you don't have the butterfly, but you have the butterfly feelings to up and leave and go somewhere, I think that's the direction for me. So I had that feeling. I was scared, and I jumped, came to LA, built a brand new life, built a name for myself, and built a business. And now I'm like, hey, man, it's not that I don't want to go back, but it's what I recognize is that progression is available for me, and I can control the outcome of my life.
Okay. So the hardest was moving? Or was it more starting a business over?
No, the business wasn't the hardest. The hardest part was like the first step, which was packing up my car. I remember, so my car left before me. So I was originally raised on the East Coast in the small state, Rhode Island. Okay. And my car left. I remember it was me and my best friend, Patrick.
Right.
We drove to a huge parking lot, and a big tractor trailer was there. And we called him ahead of time, so we asked him to go there. And we, put our belongings in this car. Okay. And I put my stuff in my car, and he put his stuff in his car, and then we shipped our car, to California from the East Coast.
So once you do that, there's no going back.
So my friend, my childhood friend, went with us because he was our ride back. Now that our cars are there, he was our ride back, and he said, "I cannot believe that you guys actually doing this. I thought it was all hearsay until right now to see your cars go. There's no turning back, man. Unless you stop them in Minnesota and say come back, and that's not gonna happen.
No.
So when I saw that, that's when it was like, yo, this is official. This is 100%.
Okay, interesting. So once you packed it up, there's nothing else you can do.
There was nothing else to do. So it was probably like around that decision that was the hardest.
Yeah.
Versus actually like staying, and like that. The business and the challenges that I've experienced afterwards was all growth opportunities, but the hardest part was taking that one step forward. So like when people like, for example, like start a business, buy a course, like it's that first step that is the scariest. Everything else is like, it's like a domino. Mm-hmm. Every other domino is going to be easier to fall down once you push the first one.
Right.
So that was the hardest one.
Do you think it was easier because your friend was with you? Because there was a situation when I moved by myself and I really felt homesick. Yeah. Luckily, I made other friends that helped. Do you think it helped that he was there with you? So it was a piece of home.
I think it was easier. We talked about that. Okay. I think it was a little bit easier because he was there. We also talked about what I have gone if he decided to stay on the East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not 100% sure. I was leaning towards like I would have gone anyway. And
Right.
I would have figured it out. But it was definitely 100% easier.
Shout out to best friends. Look
Shout
at
out,
that.
yeah, shout out to best friends. You got to have the right people in your circle. And, you know, one of the things that he told me was the reason that he left.
Because of you.
Yeah, because of me. Because he said, I don't have anyone positive around me.
Oh, wow.
You know, he said, I don't have. So if you leave and you're going to experience this new growth and this new life in California, leaving the hood on the East Coast,
Mm-hmm.
when I look around my neighborhood, I don't have anyone else that's talking, you know, positivity and
Growth.
future and growth and success minded.
Right.
You know, even when I was 15, I was like, man, you know what we could do when we get older?
Right.
Imagine us being 25 running a business.
And people are like, okay, whatever.
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of the stuff that I said, like even, you know, at 15 years old and I look 10 years later,
Yeah.
it's like actually the norm, my norm. Like to be on flights, it's not a crazy thing to be on planes. But I
Right.
have friends who never been on a plane before.
I know. I travel like once a month.
Yeah, you're always
It's a norm.
traveling.
It's a norm.
It's a norm. Like to
Yeah.
get on a plane, it's like getting on a taxi, getting an Uber.
Yeah. So a lot of people move to LA because they think they're going to meet some famous people. They're going to get a break. Who's the most famous person that you met while in LA?
That's a good question.
Like, was it worth it?
Who's the most famous person that I met?
Maybe you have like a top 3. No.
Because I don't look at people who are, like, I don't say that they're famous. I used to.
Okay.
When I moved to LA, I was like, oh my gosh, you're so-and-so.
Yeah, I don't get starstruck either. I'm like,
Yes.
you're human.
You're human, yeah. If you get cut,
I'd
you
be
bleed.
like, yeah, like
You bleed the same color I bleed.
they're human. Yeah.
Breathing the same air. There was a party that I went to. All right, there's a guy. His name is Lance. He is.
Okay.
If you go on to like CW Network, CW68, a bunch of movies, he's in those movies.
Okay.
But I saw his Instagram and he pretty much posted. This was when I just moved to LA. So he posted that he's gonna be at this certain party.
Okay.
He was an alumni of All Black College in Washington, but he lives in LA because he's famous.
Mm-hmm.
And so I go to this party. Okay, true story. I go to this party and I'm expecting to see the celebrity. Now he ends up coming in like an hour after everybody.
Usually.
You know, fashionably late.
Yeah.
He comes in an hour after everybody. He gets an Uber of a black on black Suburban. Gets out of the Uber, walks into the party, and I look at him and I'm like, cool. And so I'm not as impressed as everyone. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, Lance, like, woo. And I'm like, okay, you know, you're human. You look not too far from what I look
Right.
like. You know, you could be a cousin or something for me. But what ends up happening, this is why I say the opportunity is in the show up.
Yeah.
You have to show up physically, and you got to show up powerfully and then be seen and to be heard. So at this party, I meet a woman, and this woman asked me, like, oh, where are you from? I said, I'm from the East Coast. I just moved to L.A. And she says, what do you do for a living? She says, what do you do for a living? I say, I'm a motivational speaker. Literally that morning, I decided to be a motivational speaker.
Just that morning.
She says, oh, my gosh, you're a motivational speaker? I need you to come talk to my kids at my school.
Oh, wow.
And
That's so cool.
my first gig was from this woman, which her and her boyfriend, I became best friends with. Like, we are still close to this day. And she gave me my first opportunity to speak in front of a group. I recorded that content, sent it back to my high school, and I said, look, I'm speaking. They called me and they said, hey, Andy, would you come speak at our school? I went to go speak at the school, and that started my speaking career.
So do you think in that scenario, testimonials are important? Like if you say I'm a motivational speaker, show that you are?
Yeah.
Or people don't believe you?
They don't believe you.
What?
Yeah, I'm a doctor, too.
That's so rude.
I'm a doctor, I'm an attorney, and I'm a tax accountant. All right?
Wow.
So I do all that.
I need to see the real deal.
But when you show the paperwork,
right.
now that makes it real. When you show the video, especially nowadays, when you show the video, makes it work. Video, question?
Okay.
All right, so we got one more question, and then we're going to wrap this thing up. Thank you so much for joining us on the After Hours podcast with Andy Audate. One more question, and if you are on my Instagram, I want you to ask the question in the comments. Go to my last post on Instagram. I want you to write After Hours question for Andy for After Hours podcast. Put a colon, then ask the question. My team will take a screenshot, send it to me, and I will answer your question on the After Hours podcast with Andy Audate. What's the last question for us tonight, Lori?
What do you think stops a business from growing?
Money.
What?
Yeah, 100%.
Really?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, money, the lack thereof. And you got to figure out, and it's a constant game of like figuring it out. Like I've never seen so many CEOs jump back into the driver's seat in their business after the COVID-19 pandemic.
Really?
So many CEOs are jumping into the driver's seat of their car of a business that they were semi-retired for. That they semi-retired for 10 years.
Right,
and everything was on autopilot. Now, as soon as the COVID-19, boom, I got to jump right in. And you see them there because they're trying to save it now.
Right.
Because you could literally lose your business. With the pandemic, you can lose your business overnight.
Okay.
Seriously. So now you got to figure out the new way of getting money. There's a new way to market to your customers.
Right.
There's a new way to get in front of your audience. There's a new way to convince people. There's a new way to persuade. There's a new way to build relationships. And now you got to figure out this new world that we're in post the pandemic. What happened in 2018? I think it was you that shared this with me. Like you had people, right? One of your coworkers or your ex-coworkers went to their grandparents and said, "Hey, you were there during the recession in 2008, 2009, 2010, and you were there during a previous recession.
Right.
He's a little older. You were there during a previous recession. How do we win in this new economy?"
Yeah.
And what did she say?
I don't remember.
I remember wholeheartedly. You told me that last year.
Yeah.
I remember that wholeheartedly. She said, "Baby, we've never been through something like this."
Oh, right. I know who you're talking about now. Yes. So KK, yeah.
Little KK.
Yeah, that's a really good friend. So she said that, as soon as everything was happening, she went to about a few generations back and said, "What do I do now that COVID is here?" And they basically said, "Hey, there's been some situations, recessions, where we don't have money. Or situations where things are closed. We haven't been in a situation where it's both."
Yeah.
That was tough.
And on to add about that, livelihood.
Right. And
like your life.
The health. Yeah. Health risk. They've never been in a situation where health is at risk, and there's no money in the economy.
Right.
It's a really bad combination,
2008, 2009, 2010, I was in 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade.
Yeah, we were too young to know.
Too young. So when I see videos about people packing up their offices and closing down their businesses, I see all these videos are like how people are saddened, but I see everyone without mask.
Right. 2008, I remember people saying, like, why are you going to college if there's no jobs? But my health was good, so I could still go out and get a job,
Right.
Here, we're in a bad situation, But with that being said, that just means that we have to evolve. Reinvent. And do realize that it's not a repeat of history. You're going to scare the people.
That's a good one.
You have una más.
Okay, we have Garcia G. How do you find balance with business and personal life?
There is no balance. Shit, man.
What is that?
There is no damn balance with business.
We live here.
Yeah, we live here. We live here, man. The curtain comes down, I pull out my mattress, and I sleep and I wake and I'm playing. But seriously, like
That's a good question.
There is no balance. There is no balance. And I could tell you something vulnerably. Her and I are still discovering that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're still discovering what that looks like. And I think that when you're in a relationship, right? We should have our own relationship talk show. But when you're in a relationship, whether it's with just yourself, your family, or you're a business owner or your partner, you're the man or the woman in your life, I think truthfully, it's about integrating. And we have many integration conversations in our life.
Yeah.
Where we're integrating things, but it's about knowing, like, for example, I know one of the things that she kind of presented to me was when I do a certain live event every single month, maybe twice, or even I think the most I've done is 3 times in a month, where a large group of people pay and we get on a live Zoom call and we do a training on marketing the brand. And
it takes up weekends. It's not Monday to Friday, Yeah,
it's not a Monday to Friday. It's a 2-day full live event where I'm speaking for 14 hours.
Yeah.
And I'm standing up for 14 hours talking to the camera and talking to a group of people, teaching them how to start, grow, and scale their business through marketing their brand with a specific system. And when I'm sharing that, when I'm doing this, what I've noticed is that, like, you kind of give me the space and you're aware of, like, what needs to be done. Even as simple as, like, ironing my shirt the day of.
Yeah.
And setting me up proper. So I think it's going to be, there's not a balance. It's more of like a flow. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. on those days, I end up like remodeling the house,
Yeah.
or I take a self-care day. Because you got to really think about the other person's schedule, and I think it's about finding time for yourself while the other person is busy, and they can do the same. But if personal and business, the way I see it now, they're combined.
Yeah.
It's not like you're gonna shut off your brain, because we're both business minded.
Right.
You know what I mean? So even in all other situations, even if I only had an hour in between a work day to go eat with my family, I'll switch gears and I'll go take that hour, and 60 minutes later I switch back and I'm in business.
So it's a harmonious relationship rather than balance, because I think when I hear balance, it's more of saying like one side is equal to the other side. So the amount of time I spend at work is equal to the amount of time that I spend in my relationship, and that's also like a equal pie of how I spend time with my friends and my family and working out. Like if I spend 40 hours at work, I should spend 40 hours in the gym.
It's hard.
And get my 40 hours of sleep. So that's balanced, but realistically, it's not. You're not gonna have that. Yeah,
you can merge them, which is kind of what we do. Like a little bit of both.
Yeah, make it work. And there's a lot of things that she does that she takes over, and then a lot of things that I do that I take over. So it's about harmony. And if you're single and you're just talking about like how do I find balance in myself for yourself, recognize that in business there is no balance, but it's about really understanding what is true and genuine for you in your life and creating a system for that.
Yeah, if you're an individual, for me, I had a rule: no work on Sundays.
Yep.
At all. But you're different. You like Sundays to set up your work week.
Yeah.
So as an individual, you got to figure out what makes you feel complete and grounded, so you can be okay the next day. So me, Sundays, don't talk to me about work. Andy, he has a to-do list on Sunday.
I set up my to-do list specifically on Sundays, and I mean, look, it works for me. But for some people, it doesn't work for it. So you got to learn, you got to try new things. Like I'm constantly trying new things to figure out like, okay, that works for me. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for joining us on the After Hours podcast with Andy Audate. You want to tap on that, James?
Gracias.
On the Instagram. Thank you so much for joining us on the After Hours podcast, where I end work and then I do a Q&A at the end of our night, and I bring in the team, Lori and James, to answer your questions, give you questions or action steps for you to accomplish in your life, business, create wealth, create the lifestyle that you desire, and get paid. Thank you for joining us.